In a world filled with conflict, in a universe comprised of differences, there's one thing that absolutely everything shares in common. We all exist. Including two guys named Jack and Michael, who like to chat about that very thing over a good cup of coffee. Let's pay them a visit, shall we?
Existence Brewing.
Mulligatawny latte.
You know what that is?
Mulligatawny. I just know that there was a soup Nazi episode on Seinfeld that featured mulligatawny. It'd be nice if they had a description for us.
With the Google God. It's a rich, flavorful Anglo-Indian curry soup that originated from a simple South Indian dish called rasam, meaning pepper water. British colonials, adapted the original light peppery broth into a heartier, more substantial soup to suit their tastes, because of course they had spices, right?
Yeah.
Resulting in the diverse versions known today. So there you go, mulligatawny.
Mulligatawny latte.
Differently than I would have expected too. It's actually spelled like it sounds: Mulligatawny. Mulligatawny. Tawny as in the color of the soup too. There's like a golden.
You know, I had the best curry while I was in Maui.
That's right. You were on the islands recently.
I was on the islands, and we went to this. It was like a ramen soup restaurant.
I love ramen. We had the best ramen. Oh my God! When we went to HorrorCon a couple weeks ago, holy cow, that was good ramen. Anyway, yours?
It was like a curry. It was really good.
Curried ramen.
Yeah.
Never had that.
I really had never even had ramen before, but it was amazing.
Maddie doesn't like curry too much, and I have to be careful with it because there is an ingredient in curry, which I believe is derived from coriander, if I'm not mistaken, or something like that. We can look that one up too.
It'd probably be similar to the mulligatawny latte or the mulligatawny mocha.
Well, the mulligatawny is a savory latte, so you sip it and it has a curry flavor to it. But no, I have a little bit of a weird reaction to some curries. It's strange. It's hard to explain, but it's like my body's not quite right after I eat it feeling. It's almost like halfway to a panic attack almost, but it's like it attacks something in that realm that doesn't quite sit right with my body. So I've had that for years too. But anyway, I do like curry, but I have to be careful with it because there's certain varieties that will do that. And then if there's too much curry, that will happen.
You'll just freak out in the middle of a restaurant and nobody wants that.
Yeah. I mean,
they're like, excuse me, Jack, would you like 4 stars or 5 stars on this one? You're not really a spice guy, are you?
Here's the thing about hot food. I can do hot food. There's no question about that. But when it's just hot for the sake of being hot and it covers up or masks the flavors, I'm out. Because the whole point of eating food and having it be an enjoyable practice is that it's flavorful. So this ghost pepper shit and this Carolina Reaper and all this stuff where people just want to burn their the insides of their mouths out, let alone what that must do to your bowels, God forbid. I'm out. And by the way, like Popeye's chicken, when they introduced their, come try Popeye's new ghost pepper chicken. I don't fucking think so.
Yeah.
If you put actual ghost pepper on fast food, you would kill people. I mean, they'd come back inside. There'd be so many lawsuits. Okay. So it's just, I don't know how they can honestly get away with it. They must put like a literal grain, like one grainlet of ghost pepper powder in every sandwich. And they're able to then, therefore, probably legally under the, what goes into your sandwich laws, they're able to call it ghost pepper and use the term, because I'm saying bullshit. There's no ghost pepper in that to any large enough degree that where it would actually be considered ghost pepper, because it would kill people. It would burn their anuses out and they would come back and
I feel like it would have to be like kid tested, mother approved at a fast food restaurant.
Similar subject line. I heard something. This goes back to my rant about intellectual property and how ridiculous the laws surrounding that get. Apparently, Smuckers, the purveyors of the Uncrustable, which, by the way, my nieces at one point couldn't believe that I'd never tried years ago. And when I went over to my brother's house to visit, they offered me one and then quickly retracted their offer. They rescinded it because they didn't want to share. They decided. And I said, look, I don't fucking want to.
They didn't want to waste it on you?
I don't really want to ingest grape flavored radiator fluid anyway. So thanks. I was going to pass as it was. But apparently Smuckers is suing Trader Joe's for Trader Joe's infringement on their trademark of the Uncrustable, because they also sell something called a jelly-filled crustless sandwich. And Smuckers is arguing that it's too close to their trademarked, patented, and extremely popular, all too popular if you ask me, Uncrustables sandwich. And there was this patent attorney, this trademark attorney, that was prattling on about how Smuckers had something here, explaining in this news brief about how, well, you can't just sue someone for what's in a sandwich. So if Smuckers sold, let's say, a grape jelly sandwich, and then Trader Joe's had a grape jelly sandwich too. Let's say it was grape jelly, and from, again, those quarters, it's actually, they use ethylene glycol as a solidifier in those things, which is an ingredient that you use in antifreeze. It's no. So, let's say it's one of those horrible mashups, and so it's grape jelly and Nutella or whatever. Just for lack of, that's not a real good, because people probably eat that. But anyway, you can put grape jelly and cognac spread, let's say that, in a sandwich if you're Smuckers, and then Trader Joe's can do the exact same thing, and that's allowed because the guts of a sandwich are not trademarkable.
It's the name.
If any sandwich that is shaped or in some way altered or transformed from a traditional sense then becomes exclusive property of whoever did it. And in this case, and that's why this attorney was saying they have something and they're going to win this lawsuit, and you better stock up on your Trader Joe's knockoffs now, because they're not going to make them anymore, because they're going to lose their ass.
So they're shaped like the Smuckers
I am
UFO.
Just thinking to myself, I hate to sound like one of those ads on TV. For just the cost of your daily latte, you could save this child. But honestly, how much money and time and energy is going to be spent on the court battle over the Uncrustable knockoff sandwich that we could truly spend on something else? And I know that's just one tiny example of millions of litigious things that we waste money and time and effort on every day. But who fucking cares? Just let them make the knockoff, and who cares? But no, Smuckers insists on they must have the Uncrustable. It's theirs. No one else gets to have a crustless sandwich.
You could add another wrinkle to this story, which is now going to just blow your mind. I think the Space Burgers of Moses Lake might have a countersuit to Smucker's suit. That being that they were the purveyors of the original crustless sandwich, i.e. the Space Burger.
Very true. I've done an article on the Space Burger, so let me back you up real quick.
Yeah.
You referenced Moses Lake, which is a small community in Grant County, Washington, and the people that have the folks. There are folks that go to that fair as food vendors. They possess the presses that are necessary to make this particular sandwich, and so they sell them in Moses Lake. However, the Space Burger itself was created in Seattle, Washington, for the World's Fair there because of the Space Needle, and
right.
it is an Uncrustable. Imagine an Uncrustable, if you know what that looks like, a pocket bread thing that has, what's the ingredients inside?
It's like hamburger and lettuce and Thousand Island dressing.
Oh, it's disgusting. They insisted that part of my assignment was to go to the fair and do a story on them. And part of the assignment was they're going to offer you one, Jack, and you have to take a bite out of it because my boss knew you're not going to want to eat it. He said, you have to at least take a bite of it for the camera, and it has to be a legitimate bite. And so I had to do that while film was rolling.
And you didn't like it.
Article. And I had to feign the whole, and I used to do a cooking segment on local TV. Real nice Southern gal did the cooking segment with me. She was from North Carolina, and she just loved George W. Bush. She just thought, he was just such a fine man. And we used to go round and round about that in her kitchen, and it was fun. But anyway, that was the worst part. That was the worst gig about doing TV I've ever had to do, was that whole, when she was done cooking it, and then we'd take a bite, and you have to do that. I felt like such an idiot, like 9/10 of the time, because it's just like, even if it was delicious, it was still fakery. It was just like, I hate this part of the show. I don't even want to try it. I just want to say, well, okay, that's it. We've made it. Here it is. You're seeing pictures. I wonder what it tastes like. You do too. We're going to leave you in suspense. But there's that arbitrary part where you have to take a bite and go,
yeah. But the Space Burger, it's a thing.
The Space Burger is like an Uncrustable. So yeah. But is the Space Burger patented or trademarked?
Oh, I think the patent and trademark in that world is extremely gray. And I would find it hard to believe that Smuckers could get away with such a claim to ownership of the Uncrustable sandwich.
No, the guy, like I said, the attorney they had, the bigwig attorney from, Dewey, Cheatham and Howe, attorneys at law, the offices said, like, flat out, no, Smuckers is going to win this suit because the sandwich in question has been altered from a design that is traditional, and therefore it is theirs. They have a right to it. And the Trader Joe's one. So what Trader Joe's may do, and this is entirely possible, Smuckers, of course, is theirs is, I guess you'd call it like it's round, but it has a flat bottom and then it's raised. Well, actually, no, it's rounded on both sides. I'm not sure what shape you'd call that, but it's shaped like a UFO. It's shaped kind of like, yeah. So if Trader Joe's was to make theirs into a different shape, if they made it a trapezoid, or if they made it a half circle, or a crescent shape, or any other, that might fly. Then they might say, okay, well, this is Trader Joe's shape, and the Smuckers gets to keep this shape. So who knows? It sounds like an episode of Sesame Street that's going to cost people millions and millions of dollars to debate in court when we have other problems to tend to. But
well, I think we just gave the defense attorneys a viable out on this one.
I hope they've looked into the Space Burger for sure.
I hope it's on the radar. Yeah.
I just wonder if Matlock would have taken this case for free.
Oh, Matlock. I used to watch that show with my grandma.
Matlock was clearly running cocaine in his own because how are you able, every single fucking case this guy takes is pro bono. How are you able to do that and live in his house? I mean, he lived in the proverbial like antebellum mansion, country time lemonade, chilling on the porch constantly, probably had servants in the place. I mean, you don't live like that for free. You can't be pro bono as an attorney.
Yeah, what was the backstory of Matlock? I'm sure he was a successful attorney. Maybe he defended the 3M Post-it note company and made millions and millions of dollars
on one case.
And then he just said, the rest of it's going to be pro bono.
I think it was something illegal off the. I smell illicit drugs or something off the books. Cotton gin that shouldn't be. Speakeasy. What the hell is the deal too? As we just continue to flea hop from one topic to another. But speaking of speakeasies, what is the fucking deal with speakeasies? People are opening speakeasies, and I just think to myself, do you even know what the term is supposed to refer to traditionally? Speakeasies happened during Prohibition because alcohol was illegal. It was a place to gather and not only manufacture but also enjoy the fruits of those illegally manufactured alcoholic labors. That's a speakeasy. You can't fucking open a speakeasy today and call it's a speakeasy. Bullshit. Alcohol's legal in every 50 state of the union. I can't stand stuff like this. Who decided it was okay to start calling these bars, which is what they are?
They're trendy.
Speakeasies.
Yeah, they're trendy.
That's stupid. Come on. It's just, I'm going to the speakeasy. Oh, so you're going to enjoy something that's legal. I mean, here's the thing. I guess moonshine, which they now also tag as legally sold alcohol. Some things are actually tagged moonshine in the liquor store.
Yeah.
But and they've loosened the rules enormously on, of course, home brewing and home distilling of all, because it's become a hobby for so many people. But there is still such a thing as illegally manufacturing your own grain alcohol and, other things.
Like in a still.
Yeah. So if you actually have crossed that line, that threshold, which is going to be rare for most people, and you have a place where you're inviting people over to sample it or buy it, in particular, you're selling it to them, fine. You actually have a speakeasy, but you can't go get a business license and say, I'm opening a speakeasy. It's counterintuitive. Please stop calling. I mean, I don't go to bars, taverns, or pubs.
Well, it's kind of marketry gimmicks, isn't
ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I can't stand it. First time I heard that, I was like, why? Yeah, they opened a speakeasy on 3rd Street. Did you see that, Jack? I'm like, they did? Wow. So the cops have no interest because alcohol's legal. What the? Do you even know, I think it's because we have a brain dead public. Most people don't know what a speakeasy is in this day and age, probably, sadly.
One of my coworkers recently got back from Japan, and there was actually a really cool entrance to a bar that he showed me, and they didn't realize it was a bar until they saw somebody actually come out of the door. And the door it looked like a vending machine. And you could then grab a section of the vending machine and open it up as if it was a secret entrance. And then you'd go into this underground establishment. I thought that was kind of cool. Leave it to Japan to come up with an entrance like that.
Well, if you ask me, Japan's long-standing had a lot better ideas than the United States, for sure. But anyway, the oddities of the world continue, I suppose. But just please stay out of speakeasies. Stay out of anything that wants to purport itself as being, it's a speakeasy, and yet alcohol is completely legal and flowing freely every fucking place you look. We live in a world with twisted tea and vanilla-flavored White Claw shit. I mean, so
yeah, and stay away from our space burgers.
Space burgers, I'll tell you, that's just.
I like space burgers.
There's probably a lot of folks that don't know what space burgers are. Do you like them?
I do, yeah, because I like that Thousand Island dressing.
That's what I was just gonna say. That's what it was that I was remembering that set the space burger apart.
Yeah,
was that filling.
If you don't like the Thousand Island flavor, then you will think that it's a terrible, terrible thing. But if you like Thousand Island dressing and you like meat and lettuce, the only thing that's weird about the shredded lettuce is that it's cooked.
So it's damp.
It's a little soggy.
Soggy.
Yeah, it's a little soggy. But I had a family member who would actually go to the county fair and pick up space burgers and freeze them so that they could enjoy them throughout the year. And it's a thing. It has a cult following.
I'm recalling the exchange between Brad, aka Judge Reinhold, and the little guy who looked exactly like somebody we used to work with in his younger days in Fast Times at Ridgemont High, when they're discussing the secret sauce at each burger place that they work for. And what's the secret sauce at Bronco Burger? mustard and ketchup. What's the secret sauce of All-American Burger? Thousand Island dressing. So, and it is literally Thousand Island dressing. The secret sauce, the best secret sauce and I'm no fan of fast food, but of course I used to eat it as much as anybody when I was younger. And it's funny, this should come up again because the second time it's been referenced today, we were just talking about it in the newsroom earlier. The best secret sauce that I've ever had and that we all knew about and loved here in town, at least, was from this burger joint. There's still a few of them around, apparently. I know where one of them is. It's called Arctic Circle.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's probably nothing more than just ketchup, mustard, and mayonnaise, but they've got the perfect balance.
It has a good balance. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it has a zing to it and not a disgusting, gross Miracle Whip zing. That's almost, you know what? That should almost be like a question to gain entry into the United States.
Speakeasy?
Yeah, into a speakeasy, right? It should almost be, I feel like that should be on the, what do they call it? The entrance exam, citizenship exam.
Yeah.
That's what it should be on. And you can see all the Frenchmen because, nothing is a sauce to them, right? It's just, of course, this is a condiment. And then the answer varies based on what country you come from. I don't know. That's a good question. Mayonnaise I wouldn't consider it a sauce because I don't really think anything is a sauce unless it's saucy. And mayonnaise is it's got a viscous to it that's just, I think it's a condiment.
Yeah, I think it's a condiment too. And I would say the same about mustard. But I think if you combined that with other ingredients, then you can create a sauce.
Now, I'm not a big hot dog eater either, but what is this hatred for putting ketchup on a hot dog? What is this purist bullshit thing that you hear from people about, only peasants and fools put ketchup on a hot dog? So who cares?
Right.
Like, best thing I've ever had on a hot dog in my life was actually on a bratwurst at Old County Stadium in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I saw a baseball game there the last year that it was in operation. Miller Park was in construction next door. And went down to get a dog like in the third inning or something like that. Got up to the front, ordered 2 for myself, 2 for my brother who'd stayed behind. And the guy working the brats, sizzling on the grill back there, said, "You want stadium sauce on those?" And I go, yeah, light me up, dude. I had no idea what he was talking about. Stadium sauce.
Yeah, when in Rome, try the stadium sauce.
He's got this dip, this bucket next to him. It's a small bucket, thankfully, and it's got this red sauce in it. And there's a brush, kind of a spoon brush thing. I've never seen anything like it before because it ladled the sauce on whilst also brushing.
Oh my gosh.
It was a remarkable invention. And I wonder if it was his own.
It's probably patented.
Because the guy looked like he'd worked at the park and been sleeping downstairs in the rented apartment under the boiler room for 40 years, by the way.
Wow, Quasimodo.
So he was just like, "Do you want the stadium sauce?" And I was like, we hesitated. Yes, of course. So he brushes this stuff on. I'm like, oh God, what have I just done? Stadium sauce.
You got to go for that kind of stuff.
It probably tastes like stale beer. It was the most delicious thing I've ever tasted.
Always try new things once, man.
Brats. Oh, it was to die for on those brats. And which were, of course, I would never eat that today because they're like 4,000 calories.
Speaking of sauce, and I know we didn't intend to go on this rant, but we always do this kind of stuff. We never intend on doing anything, really.
Rabbit holes abound on Existence
Brewing. I
Brewing.
think really this madness started with, hey, I've got some of these ideas I'm trying to fashion into a podcast. Oh, yeah? And that's where it started, right?
I don't even think it was that.
Okay. So, one thing that I always thought was interesting was the Arby's sauce.
The horsey sauce?
The horsey sauce. The horsey sauce has kind of a loyal following, doesn't it? It is. It really is.
You can't talk to me about Arby's if you like it because I think it's so nasty.
It's so nasty.
So nasty. Look at it.
Yeah. Oh, it's like I don't know what it is. I don't know
Cardboard.
It's kind of like, it's not even like a barbecue sauce and it's not really ketchup. It's something in its own category, the horsey sauce.
Yeah, quick and random thoughts on Arby's. The roast beef, they've perfected a way to literally just douse like corrugated cardboard and slice it thin enough to call it meat. The meat is, and I haven't eaten Arby's, remember, mind you, in 25 years. It's been a long time, but that's my memory of the meat for one thing. The horsey sauce is absolutely dreadful. It's I think it's supposed to be horseradish, like a horseradish based sauce. And so therefore it's supposed to have some smack, but all it carries is like, this is probably carburetor cleaner for small engine planes. There's something so chemically off about it. And that's the way so many fast food substances are. And finally, the hat in the logo is absolutely fashioned after the tip of a penis. There's no question about it. And I don't want to eat at a restaurant where it's clear that they've made a phallus as their symbol, because that says something about all the sauces that you're about to eat at the restaurant. You got to admit, the hat looks like a dick. I'm sorry. It's true.
The Secret Stadium sauce, an iconic condiment specifically associated with the Milwaukee Brewers baseball team and served at American Family Field, is a unique blend of ketchup, mustard, barbecue sauce, and spices.
Really? No kidding.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. It tasted, honestly, and I know this is from a lay person that's never been to Sicily and, traveled abroad and I'm not a gourmand. I don't know world cuisine, but to a lay person, it tasted like they'd been brewing it all day, like spaghetti, like grandma's spaghetti sauce from the old country.
Like a Sunday sauce.
And yet, of course, it's just all shit that they've amalgam of shit that's in a pot. I'm telling you, that stuff is unbelievable.
Well, you can buy it online. Now I know what to get you for Christmas.
That would be something to relive even at home. I mean, nothing like a brat from the actual stadium with the guy, striping it on your bun for you. But yeah, I'm not surprised they sell it because any chance to make more money, right? We already make $6 million a year on Polish dog sales, but we want more money. Let's bottle the sauce. So, in fact, I would bet, speaking of betting, that there's betting that goes on about how many hot dogs and how many Polish sausages people are eating at the game, because people bet on everything now. And speaking of betting, we've got a sports might be rigged. After all, betting scandal going on. Is Jack going to be right after all? Oh my gosh, who knows? But this one is pretty off the wall, pretty over the top.
Well, I don't know much about the scandal. I did have some stats that I pulled up regarding sports betting, because it's been something that's been on my radar ever since it was legalized, because the sports radio world has really grabbed on to sports booking. I mean, they've kind of done what what, other networks have done to the MyPillow. They just really embrace it. And it becomes, one of the largest, sponsors of the program. It's either MyPillow or those gold coins that you see every once in a while.
Yeah, thank God, working in radio, not that I'm a believer in any of the aforementioned products or just in general what they might do for you, but thank God there are some people that are still completely sold on the power and the magic of radio to make them money as sponsors, because it's keeping me employed, quite frankly.
Yeah.
So as much as I detest marketing, keep it up in the radio realm. But no, this involved, and this is about a week old now as we record this, but it involved the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. I believe his name is Chauncey Billups, a former player, and a bunch of players, and then also a bunch of mafiosos. There was supposedly a bunch of, racketeers and guys like that, dudes named Bruno that have more than one scar on their face in, an Armani suit hanging out by the door. They're playing in these things. And it's gambling. It's mostly card games, I would bet. And then there's probably dice throwing and some other things, but essentially it's just this huge illegal gambling network. But the stories that were being spun that came out of this that caught my attention. I mean, first of all, big surprise, because remember what a gambling problem Michael Jordan had? Michael Jordan would lose, and typically he would lose on his own physical exploits. Like, he would never probably bet on himself to make the last shot in a basketball game because he knew he could do it. But he would bet you that he would beat you in a round of golf and lose $200,000. Like, he'd bet Tiger Woods, let's go play 18. I'll whoop your ass. Let's put $200,000 on the line. And of course, he shoots a 90 because he's not a golfer. He's a basketball player. And he also fancied himself a baseball player. Couldn't hit for shit. Couldn't field for shit. Lasted 3 months in the White Sox farm system. Back to basketball we go. So he wanted to be this dual sport athlete, or this multi-sport athlete. Even he's not. He was a basketball player, and he's considered by many still the best player ever. So why not just settle on that? He seemed a little insatiable to me. But the thing that captured my attention about these stories that were coming out is just how outlandishly like Austin Powers they were. They were claiming that there were guys that had glasses that could see through the cards, like X-ray glasses.
X-ray tables.
Yeah, and John is just going, what the fuck? What? Like, there's no question in my mind that stuff happens, and that, hundreds of millions are eventually exchanged with what these guys make and stuff and can throw around when there's enough people involved. And then you get the mafia thrown in and their illegal money on top of it. But that stuff was just crazy to me. I mean, number 2 is at the card game with his X-ray eye patch. And I'm just thinking, whoa, this is getting out of control. So,
well, and I don't think that this recent scandal regarding the Portland Trailblazers head coach and some of the other players in the NBA had to do with game fixing as much as it did with just illegal gambling in general. And so there was like you said, there were X-ray tables involved, and they were kind of they were associated with maybe kind of this not so desirable crowd of people who were setting up these tournaments of card playing. And so people would actually like pay to play with these NBA players, because that's what we do these days is we love to spend money and say that we played cards with the head coach of the Portland Trailblazers. And these games were fixed. And so they were using some of this technology to cheat people out of money, and these celebrities knew about it.
And they were fixed because these people don't have enough money already. They're going to cheat the common man.
Well,
come up and actually just say, I hung out with Chauncey Billups and played cards. Played
Baccarat with him.
It was awesome.
That's why they did it, right? They did it.
Well, to me, again, you're going to get you're not going to get the answer you want to hear from me on that one, because to me, the answer is stop revering Chauncey Billups and all professional sports athletes, or big money athletes and coaches for that matter. Just step away from it already. And then secondly, why are you gambling with Tiffany's college fund?
Well, yeah.
Just so you can go do it. I mean, but what I thought was interesting was that as soon as this, at least in my office, when this story broke, and remember, we're not water cooler fodder. We literally buy and trade in the news. So we're, it's a news radio station. So we're locked into it all day as what we do as a trade. And it was interesting to me how quickly it extrapolated into sports are rigged.
It's easy to do.
It went right from and it was just like, guys, I know I'm the ace of spades in the room, but I've been saying it all along. Anywhere where there's that much money, there's going to be at least a little bit of jerry rigging going on. You absolutely know. And it is. And then we got into talking about, how easy / difficult different sports would be to rig. And I mean, the first thing my younger coworker said involving Joe Jackson. So, I disagree hardly. I think all sports are very easily rigged. How hard would it be to miss a shot in order to make sure that the spread was or wasn't covered? How difficult would it be to swing and miss at a ball? You're telling me these guys are that fine-tuned as athletes that they can't fuck up on purpose if necessary to make a few extra million? Come on. That's not true.
Well,
and My conspiracy theory runs deep enough that I feel like the whole thing is so entertainment based now that it's all fictitious, that just about every game is thrown for the sake of your entertainment value. We go back to that thing with the baseball playoffs, and I think we mentioned it. All the places that a home run ball can land, that's a lot in any major league stadium or any baseball park for that matter, anywhere. All of the places one little ball can land. Now, if you drew like a tesseract, a grid of tesseracts, cubes and cubes that were spread out and covered and were the size of a baseball, could fit a baseball. And you're telling me that Cal Raleigh of the Seattle Mariners, who became one of the few players in history to hit 60-plus home runs and the first ever to do as a catcher this last season with the M's, in a playoff game on the road in Detroit, hits a ball directly into the glove of a fan who is wearing a Cal Raleigh jersey that has his current number of home runs on it, and he catches the ball and peels off the shirt to reveal the new number represented by the ball that's in his glove.
I know. What are the
Bullshit.
odds?
I do not buy it for $1,000,000 trillion fucking dollars. I do not buy it at all. No way. That is bullshit. It didn't happen. And you know me. I believe in miracles. I do.
Yeah.
Far more than the U.S. beating the USSR in hockey in 1980, too. I mean, I believe in big miracles. Yeah. We live a miracle. We walk one every day. I do not believe that happened legitimately for my whole existence. I would.
So you think that Cal Raleigh was bullshit, like scoping the crowd and he said, all right, I'm going to hit it right there?
It's some kind of radio ball or some kind of just, it didn't happen in the park, but it happened for the rest of the world. And it's that Mandela effect thing.
It was like a wrinkle in the Matrix.
And turn on the TV and go, that didn't fucking happen in the game. And it's just like, oh, yes, it did.
Yeah.
For the millions watching, it happened. For you at the park, you were just duped. Have you ever watched any of those compilations they have on YouTube where the basketball, gets passed and it disappears? And it's clear that a frame isn't been skipped. It's all digital now anyway. So
no, really I don't know what you're talking about.
In a film anyway. Go look at some of the like sports, what the fuck is going on sort of thing. And they cover all of the games too. There are many that are inexplicable. Some are like, well, that could have been the angle. Some are like, I'm sure there could be a lot of them are like, something weird's going on. Something's not quite right.
I'll have to check that out. But yeah, it's easy to go from the illegal gambling prosecution to the 1919 Black Sox pretty quickly, because I think it's one of those kind of taboo situations where for such a long time sports betting was illegal, and it really now it's become kind of part of this culture accepted form of gambling. And you, like we said before, I mean, it used to be that Barbasol shave cream and these other kind of innocent products were the kings of sports radio. Now it's, what is it? DraftKings and whatever. All of these different sportsbook companies that are really starting to kind of come out and say, okay, now we've got a captive audience. And when that media or when that market is created by these entities and it's fully embraced by the media companies that are promoting these sporting events, it makes you wonder, okay, how much longer is it going to be before we find out that one of these professional games was fixed? And, I think there's so many people that are involved in the production of these games that you could even look at something like Deflategate with Tom Brady and somebody could say, oh, see, there's something going on here. People knew about this. And at what point does, I guess we just what I wanted to do was I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the statistics that are involved in this sports betting and kind of really like how predatory some of this really has become and the people who actually engage in sports betting constantly.
Because they are a younger demographic, from what I understand.
Yeah, most of them are under the age of 30 years old. And, they do predominantly skew male, but there's also women who have taken part in sports betting. And I think that there's also been, in the recent years, there has been an uptick in the amount of females who have engaged in NFL games. I mean, I think the fan base has increased dramatically. In fact, even in our house, my wife's more interested in who's playing on Thursday Night Football than I am.
Hard to say why that's happened. I have my own theories, and they probably sound pretty misogynistic. But I don't know. I think it goes back to just the same old thing that it always seems to in our society, which is no matter how much liberation we want to pencil in for that particular minority, females, it's as machismo as it's ever been. And sadly, women are, because I remember the day clearly from the 70s and 80s, coming from a household with a sibling who was just, immersed in the world of sports at the time, that the interest of the females in the household was not only passing, it was uneducated, it was uninformed, and it was strictly this is a good way for me to spend time with my son and or brother, so I'll just be in the room while it's on. But there was no understanding or interest in what was actually happening at all. And
I'd agree.
God love them for that. And then I think, honestly, what happened over the years, moms aside, is women rather than, I think what happened was men, honestly. I think it's the whole, I want a man, I need a man thing from the female camp. I want a boyfriend, and my boyfriend watches sports and he tunes me out and he's out of the room and he goes to his friends, and I want to know where he is and I want to be involved and I want to, and the next thing you know, the jersey goes on and I want to learn about it. And, so I think it's sad personally. I think as the sexes go, I'm sure there are women who are legitimately interested in football from the womb, from conception on. But I also think that there are a lot more that keep up with those Joneses so that they can be closer to their man, who could give a fuck about them on game day, quite frankly, and will easily leave to watch a whole day's worth of football and not want anything to do with them. I think women have done it to keep up with men who are into sports. But that's a personal opinion, and it's not every couple, but it's a lot of couples, and that's just the way I see it. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, I would say too that one of the things I've noticed about my wife and her sporting habits is my viewership of sports has actually gone down over the years. And I would say that one of the things that I noticed was when Travis Kelce started dating Taylor Swift.
Oh, there you go.
That was a key indicator. The other key indicator was when NFL started to have these reality TV shows that were featured about either the Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders, or it was about maybe some of the quarterbacks or the players. And then my wife discovered, so it started with Dallas Cowboy cheerleader, Real Housewives, etc. And then it started kind of blossoming into, now she's watching Hard Knocks, which is a very football-focused documentary that the NFL Network produces. And so, I mean, it's very well done. It's kind of NFL Films.
NFL Films is they really make, I honestly, I credit my writing style. Legitimately, the style of my writing, I credit with NFL Films.
It's iconic.
I watched so many NFL Films presentations, and that was back when they flexed a much bigger vernacular in their 70s and 80s writing. Their writers were very good. They wrote metaphorically. I learned how to write. My style is a derivative of NFL Films. And I know that seems counterintuitive to the personality that I've shown on the podcast and the way I feel today, but it's absolutely true. I use words that I learned to this day from those presentations, the highlight reels and stuff. To this day, I remember the first time I heard them, and I've never forgotten them. So
yeah, they're iconic for sure.
Look, it is. I kind of always have to just go back over the mission statement or just the fine prints, the disclaimer, and just say, it's kind of like phone psychics in the 1990s, psychic hotlines where they would put up the disclaimer, for entertainment purposes only. This way to let you know, listen, the person on the other end of the line may in fact be blessed with some form of pseudoscientific second sight that we just can't bottle because there's no measurable latitudes for what it is. We can't actually come out and say, well, they have this and they have a PhD in seeing the future, or they have because we just don't live in that world,
right?
Unfortunately. So we're just letting you know this is for the purposes of entertainment. And I just feel like the same tag belongs on all major college and professional sports, all big money sports, no matter what the sport is, because it truly is for entertainment purposes. And because of that, there has never been a guarantee that you are not being absolutely duped 100% with what happens on the field, the court, the rink, or the outcome of the game at all. I didn't watch the World Series. Did you watch the World Series? I know what happened.
Yeah, I did.
Wow. 4 games would have been a real bummer for ratings and money, wouldn't it? So why not 7, including one that went 18 innings? So there were 8 games of the World Series, if you want to get right down to it.
Well,
and the Blue Jays, in a world where who is president of the United States, the only team that exists on Canadian soil in the whole world of American, a U.S. created sport like baseball, is about to win only their second ever World Series.
Yeah,
they're going to close the doors on the mighty Dodgers, and the next thing you know, no, they're not.
There were some parallels to the geopolitical issues, weren't there?
And the phone rang immediately in the Dodgers locker room. Hey, congratulations! I'd like you to visit the White House. I wonder if Toronto would have gotten an invitation to the White House. Do you think?
Maybe not. I don't know.
The thing is that all of the players, I guarantee you, who play for Toronto, they're probably all from the United States, because there aren't many Canadian baseball players who make it big. It just happens the team's on the soil. But you know what this guy is going to say? I'm not inviting any Canadians to the White House. It's not going to happen. Never.
Sir, they're actually American-born citizens.
We're putting a tariff on all Blue Jays. That's it. All the Blue Jays will have a little tariff sticker on them. Well, so I'm sorry. Even years where they decide, okay, look, folks, we can't make this too transparent. The Super Bowl is going to be a blowout this year. The World Series is going to be a sweep. Even in years like that, I think it's all 100% fixed in some way, shape, or form at the end of the day. I'll never profess to know how it's done, but I'm afraid that that's where I'm at, because there's just too much money involved.
Well, with baseball, it all comes down to when you've got two teams that are that well matched, it really comes down to which way the ball bounces. It can go either way at that point. And really some of the rules that they've changed during the regular season with extra innings versus the way that they do it now with the World Series, it really kind of starts to then promote extra inning games. And when you have games that are that close, you're going to have teams that are leading 2 games up start to fall behind, and the guy that was behind start to catch up. And it really is just kind of anyone's game at that point.
Well, I know that I'm out of the loop. And the other thing that I'm more than willing to admit is that at 52, I'm old. By today's standards, I'm actually hanging in there pretty good, because 52 is the new 62 or 64 and a half or whatever. But, I'm willing to say that I'm aged, and I'm certainly aged out of the community, that's younger and is all playing those games. And I remember hating baseball as a kid, just hating it. Couldn't stand it. And then, the lacy light bulb, the red laced light bulb went off around 7th grade. and I caught the bug. And man, I mean, I was immersed in baseball for about 3 or 4 years until I got into high school. Just immersed in it, just baseball cards and, constantly throwing a ball against something and, catching it back, and just couldn't get enough of it. And, so I'm a mid 80s, that ride for me happened in the mid 80s. First of all, sports wouldn't be that difficult to rig. You'd only have to get to one principal player to go, whoops, should have had that one, or, oops, missed another 3. I mean, it wouldn't be that difficult to do, I don't think. But as far as, well, anybody that knows football, just watch Super Bowl 40. Enough said. All you need are 6 guys in zebra stripes, and that game is done, man. Because anybody that knows the game of American football knows that a series of well-placed penalties that are the right ones at the right moments, at the right positioning on the field, you don't have a chance.
Yeah.
You don't have a chance. And the team that lost Super Bowl XX never had a chance. And there are people to this day, even the head referee has come out and said, we probably should have called a few things differently. That's as far as he'll go, but you know what that means. We threw the fucking game.
Well, and that's the crazy thing about sports is the armchair quarterbacking after the fact too. Keeps going too.
I feel like that was a more transparent example of it, quite honestly. Yeah. I almost feel like that was one of those examples where we knew it was, they knew anyway, but we're really going to rub it in, and that kind of went too far.
Well, there were 2 stats that I wanted to share with you before we go any further, and that was there's a recent YouGov, I don't even know what YouGov is, but YouGov survey that suggests that 65% of Americans suspect that professional athletes sometimes alter their performance to benefit sports bettors, and another, sports bettors were far more skeptical than non-bettors, with over 80%, 80% of sports bettors believing somewhat that athletes may adjust their play because of gambling spreads.
Well, now here's one where I'll take one for the players with that 80%, because when you put your money on something and it doesn't roll your way, you got to have a scapegoat.
That's true.
So
that
true. Doesn't surprise me at all. So in regards to that statistic, I am going to take one for the players on this one and say that's bullshit. You're throwing your hard-earned or whatever earned, you're throwing your money away on gambling, and you need an out. You need a scapegoat in case it doesn't go your
21% of sports bettors don't tell their wives how much money they've spent on the sports gambling.
I'm telling you, I know somebody who's a gambler, and it's not good. Of course, abstemious Jack has never been into gambling. There has just always been something about, and the sad thing is that I really, again, I like the games, because I remember the first time I went to Las Vegas, and I don't think as much of an empath as I am now, and the vibes are just rancid. One of the last places on earth I'd want to go to, quite frankly. But at 23, when I first visited there, the casinos were fun, and I really liked the games. I've always liked a lot of the strategies involved in the games and the seemingly random chance. And I've always loved the aesthetics of everything. I love the suits and the deck of cards and the different, face cards and the roulette wheel and the multicolors. I mean, it's great. I love all that stuff. I love the pomp, of all of it. But I don't like the throw your money away on it. Especially when we talk about Vegas or just any casino for that matter, it's absolutely rigged. And that walking through the door, and yet people pump billions and billions of dollars into casinos every year. And they don't seem to mind. They don't care because it's the promise of free money. And gambling, casinos are awful places. I can't stand them. I mean, whenever I have to go through one or in one for whatever reason, it just sucks the light right out of my aura instantly, because there's such a depressing vibe in all of them. There's just this desperation that just is wafting through the air. And it's this desperation for, please, Give me money without me having to do anything. Let me gain something for absolutely no effort whatsoever. This atmosphere of really kind of, there's a lot of petulance, I think, in casinos. It's kind of this, come on, give daddy a jack, and it's just like, you don't deserve a fucking jack, man. If you get off your ass and go, like contribute in some way. And I don't mean just get a job, I'm not talking about just, I'm talking about like actually go and do something worthwhile for the world once in a while. Why not, instead of a visit to the casino, a visit to the soup kitchen to, chat with some of the folks that are really in need and aren't in a position to go blow the money that they don't have. That might show you something. I think we should all, I honestly think every single person, instead of worrying about some of this stuff that our current president is worried about and I don't even, me, I don't like to go down that road much, but just as an example, instead of worrying about all that hullabaloo, why don't we say we're going to send all of our border agents into the casinos tonight, and everybody we round up is going to be sentenced to 25 hours of community service in a place where people are fucking broke and destitute and impoverished and in penury. And then we're going to see how they come out. We might at least minimally reform a few of them into not wanting to go and blow their money. But of course, we're talking about somebody who owns casinos. So why would we want to do that?
Mr. President, we're not playing cards. We're not playing cards, Mr. President.
Lifeless.
All right.
Black eye, like a dog.
Quint. All right. So I know we got to finish here. So in moving from that subject to one that is similar enough, I wanted to close out today by reading something that I published for my company today, if we have time.
Yeah.
And I'll set this up by saying that one of the things that we do when it's a slow news day, as they say, is we try to get ideas for content by looking at different places, different places that can manufacture ideas for us. And I'm not a big fan of ChatGPT, of course, churning out. I want to think for myself. So one of the places we go to try and get ideas is Google Trends. We look at the mapping for the most searched items in our region, because this has to be regionally pointed. And so today I was doing that, and I happened to notice that right after the football player who died under rather strange circumstances just yesterday, apparently after just scoring a touchdown on Monday night, a couple nights back, the very next highest search result said Starbucks bear mug. And I had no idea what in the hell was going on, but I just thought, perfect. It's a holiday. You have your bear mug, but it's not a Starbucks bear mug, is it?
It is.
It is a Starbucks bear mug, but it's not the one in question.
Okay,
not the
good.
One in question.
Good.
The one in question just came out this morning. And remember, I don't follow social media, even though I'm in the news business, so I don't hear everything. So went down to my local Starbucks, one of the 5, by the way, that we have in the town that, we need 5, Go down, see somebody that I actually know that's a barista there, which was great. Manager was out. I know him too, but hey, what's this bear cup thing all about? Oh, you're way too late for that. Those sold out within minutes this morning. We had a line outside the door at 4 before we even opened. Oh, okay. Well, it's one of those deals. All right. So got some information from her, went back, did a little more digging online, find out it's this Bearista is what it's called. And it's a glass mug that's shaped like a bear holding a mug with a hat on. And that's it. And it's a limited edition, of course. And it's $30. But there were lines snaking around city blocks this morning in metropolitan locations to get a hold of these. And it's one of those deals. So I wrote something about it. It was designed to be a quick piece just about that alone. Just, well, if you're looking for the Starbucks Barista mug, you're out of luck because they've all sold out, folks. In fact, local Starbucks was sold out within 5 to 10 minutes this morning in the Valley. I mean, so that's what it was supposed to be. Knowing me, it didn't turn out that way.
Is it kind of like the moose mug from Family Vacation?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, a little bit. So anyway, it didn't turn out that way. Instead, it turned out like this. I'm going to read you the piece right now. So here you go. Ever since the Tickle Me Elmo phenomenon of the mid-1990s, insatiable consumers in the Western world have been consistently willing to drain abundant amounts of their precious time, energy, and resources to scour the retail confines of planet Earth in an attempt to acquire whatever the latest social media-fueled must-have item has become during any given holiday season. Although every Christmas shopping cycle is routinely filled with any number of deliberately underproduced and overpriced material objects for crazed buyers to seemingly choose from, there's usually one that ends up topping the heap of stuff that's likely to be rendered totally worthless and either bound for the county landfill or the Salvation Army donation bin by the time the next holiday season rolls around. Enter an early favorite for this year's top of that pile, the holiday Barista mug from Starbucks. This cute little fellow is made from clear glass that's hand-blown by caring artisans. I'm kidding. It's made in China, in the shape that's reminiscent of the classic bear-shaped containers which are used to store honey. Replete with a ribbed stocking cap in Starbucks green, along with a dainty mug of his own and a candy cane-style straw, also in Starbucks green, of course, his function is like that of any other beverage receptacle. Liquid goes in and can then be sucked out of his hollow little brain. It's truly groundbreaking, I assure you. The Barista mug's arrival at Starbucks locations nationwide had been as highly anticipated as that of the Christ Child's, and lengthy lines of people eager to part with $30 and trap one for themselves formed outside many stores hours before they opened across the nation this morning. The bite of this year's Barista frenzy didn't spare our hometown, I'll just say, either, as similar lines snaked outside of all 5 Starbucks locations in town in the pre-dawn hours, and each was sold out of the currently coveted critter within half an hour of opening. One human barista, whom I'm acquainted with at the Starbucks store on North Miller, One human barista who I'm acquainted with at a Starbucks store locally told me that employees arrived to find a long line at the front entrance at around 4 this morning, and that this hype-hungry mob emptied their entire stock of Barista mugs in less than 10 minutes. While the appetites of the Barista gobbling hordes in our neck of the woods were no doubt voracious by any measure of consumerism, they were relatively tame when compared with the legions who rushed the gates of Starbucks stores in other U.S. cities Thursday morning, including Houston, Texas, where 2 men reportedly got into a bare knuckler over the limited edition mug, prompting the police to be called and at least one of them to be taken a ride downtown. Although the Barista mug retails for the astonishingly low price of just $29.95 at Starbucks stores everywhere, his aftermarket ask is actually what you'll need to be doling out in order for you to get one this holiday season, since every last one of them appears to have been sold earlier today. And at the moment, that means prices in excess of at least $200 on sites like eBay, with many actually fetching between $300 and $500. Sure, I know you need this thing as much as you do like a week's worth of groceries or a good chunk of your car payment, right? As you can probably tell, I personally don't see what all the fuss is about, but I'm also a hopeless idealist who cherishes his connection to individuality, never likes to find himself going with the mainstream flow, and is also not much of a Christmas shopper either. In my view, our consumer-driven world took its mightiest wrong turn ever and plummeted to a neonator of despicability when 34-year-old Jamitai Demur was trampled to death by a maddened crowd of Black Friday shoppers, all looking to score a doorbuster cheap TV set at Walmart in Valley Stream, New York in 2008. On that morning, 13 years ago, instead of busting the doors of the store, those insane zombies busted a human being's life for the sake of a good deal on a material possession. And although a few dozen folks waking up at 1 a.m. to stand outside in the cold for hours so they can get their paws on a mug that looks like a bear is not entirely tantamount, it's still an ugly limb that's attached to the same monster, in my humble opinion. So, if you were one of the lucky few who managed to snag a Barista mug from Starbucks this morning, then congratulations. you now possess one more thing that the insurance company likely won't replace for its true value in the event of loss or damage. But alas, I do hope it makes you happy. Now, let's see for how long.
I think one of these days we need to talk about holiday movies.
Oh, yeah. We were supposed to talk about that on my morning radio show, actually. Christmas movies, yes or no. A lot of people are getting into that debate because, is it a Christmas movie just because it was set during Christmas time? Kind of thing.
Yeah. I don't know what I was going to say there, but we need to talk about holiday movies.
You're still dumbfounded by my article, aren't you?
I am. I'm pontificating. Well, no, the beginning of this song.
To break it to me that your wife stood in line. She was one of the people. No,
I don't think she did. I don't think she did. But no, the beginning of this song reminded me of one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Oh.
And it's the movie Scrooged.
Oh, yeah. I saw that in the theater.
Yeah. When the executive says, it was like the Manson family Christmas special.
Trying to remember a line from Scrooged. I mean, I can remember a lot of lines from it, but I'm trying to remember one that I liked. We'll have to talk about it later. Scrooged is definitely a Christmas movie because it's based on Ebenezer Scrooge, for God's sake. It's based on a Christmas Carol. So.
Classic Bill Murray.
Yes.
What are we listening to, by the way, besides the Manson family Christmas special?
In the spirit of all things bears, this is a little homage to our poor little friend, the limited edition Bearista holiday mug. This is a band called the Hollywood Bears from way back in the 80s. Underground record for sure. And there's actually a very lovely young lady in a baseball jersey on the front that says Hollywood Bears, so we got a tie in there too.
Oh, there we go. See? The stars are aligning once again on Existence Brewing.
They always do. They're always aligned, Michael.
Till we meet again at a cafe near you.
Yes, indeed, and we'll do this again soon.
Well, it looks like Jack and Michael have finished up their latest chat about all things existence. But if anything they said got your own Existence Brewing, be sure and catch their other talks at existencebrewing.com and drop them an email to share your thoughts using contact@existencebrewing.com.
Existence Brewing.